Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to my Fallout 4 Mod Spotlight series, where today we are having a look at the Fallout 3 10mm SMG mod, which is being made by user Cypher. And what this glorious little piece of work looks to add into the game is, well, as the name might suggest, the 10mm submachine gun that we have previously seen in Fallout 3, as well as New Vegas. And I'm pretty happy to see this thing making a return thanks to modders, as it is a pretty fun and cool looking gun. So let's jump on over here and have a look at what we do get with the most standard version of the 10mm SMG. Now, in its most basic configuration, this thing will do just a mere 14 damage with a 10mm round with a firing rate of 127, range of 107, accuracy of 66, and a weight of 12.7. And as you can see here, this is a pretty awesome recreation of the gun. The modeling on this is spectacular. The texturing is beautiful as well. And on the texturing, this is the standard version of the mod, which is a 2K version. There is also, though, an optional 4K download if you want this thing to look even more beautiful, which is a pretty neat. Always do like having those sorts of extras. Now, as for the modifications on this gun, it's got a pretty decent list. Not a whole lot of categories, but a good deal of options within them for you to upgrade this gun to make it a bit better. Now, it is a very much an early game weapon, so you're never going to get a whole lot of power out of this thing. I think the most I was able to get this up in damage, now keep in mind, of course, without any perks, was 28. So yeah, definitely an early game gun, maybe a bit more into mid considering its automatic nature, but still, yeah, not something you're going to be doing in end game, but still a wonderful one nonetheless. Now, as for how you do get it, well, like I said, it's an early game weapon, so it's going to start appearing in the world at level 5. And you're going to start seeing it on gunners, raiders, as well as some bosses, which is a pretty darn neat. Now, I do want to mention one strange oddity that you may have seen with that gun over there in the corner. Yeah, I don't know exactly what causes this issue, but we've seen it in the past on some weapon mods, that the sort of colliders for it are messed up, so it kind of, sits like that a lot on the ground and even occasionally in weirder things. So if you find one of these guns on the ground, it could potentially just kind of be glitching a bit through the floor, but that's a pretty minor issue. Most of the time you're going to be just looting this off of a corpse, so, perfectly okay. Now let's go take a look at the modifications we do have for this, and start, of course, in the receiver category. Here we've got the pretty typical sorts of stuff here. Standard armor piercing, a hardened piercing, powerful, and rapid receiver. Now the powerful one is going to be the most damage with the 22, with some options to add a little bit more damage with some of the other modifications. Now, in the stock category, we've got a nice little selection of options here of a short, a makeshift, a marksman, and a recoil compensating stock. Very nice. And then the magazines, we've got a standard, an extended, and a converted magazine to actually change this to firing 45 rounds rather than 10mm, and that is going to up it from the base 14 damage to 17. So it's not a big bump, but it is a couple of points of extra damage, which is always nice to have. Now, next in the sights category, we've got the standard sights, a makeshift sight, a holographic sight, and a reflex sight for you to choose from. And then finally, in the barrel category, we've got the barrel extender, a standard barrel, a short light barrel, a sleepy time barrel, which is my favorite here, it's just beautiful looking, an angled suppressor, and finally a suppressor. Now, I do want to head back to the sleepy time here real quick because, well, one, it's just an amusingly named barrel attachment, but it also adds a couple of points of extra damage. So going with the best receiver plus the 45 ammo conversion plus the sleepy time is what you're gonna have to do to get the most damage out of this, which again, I believe was 28. We can go check that here in a second. But let's go and put this over on the range and take some shots with it. And let's fire. And there we go. As you can see, good firing rate on it. We went through all 30 of those rounds in a very short amount of time. Now, it does move around quite a bit because, well, I mean, it's a fully automatic submachine gun. But let's take a look at the overall recoil here and fire. There we go. As you can see, we went to up about there and a bit over. It does kind of go a bit more side to side than I would prefer. But overall, it's not honestly that bad, and it's pretty easy to keep it on target, which is always good. Now let's go grab some of the custom ones I made over here. We'll grab the suppressed version, which is the 45, which is the one I got to the highest amount of damage. So let's go take a look at these here. And we'll actually go with the recoil compensating one, which is actually still at the 14, but I went with the rapid fire so that we have some really nice quick firing shots here. Oh yeah! So 40 rounds in quite a short amount of time, and between all the different upgrades on here, not that bad on the recoil. It is still going to shoot a little bit all over the place, but you know what? It's not that bad at all. Now, as for my sleepy time suppressed one here, yes, we got that up to the 28 with the 45 rounds, and fire. Alright, there we go. A good, nice, quiet sound to it. And overall, again, you know, it's still actually a little bit more recoil than with the standard one. But, you know what? We're doing a lot more damage. Well, a little bit more damage. And with that sleepy time suppressor, I love the look of this thing. It's so nice and gives it a good bit of extension to the front of the gun, which I do quite enjoy, especially with the added stock at the end. So let's, of course, test this thing against an enemy and get into the cage to spawn our usual target here. Well, our new usual target of a Deathclaw. Run out of the cage. There we go. Got a little hurt, but fire. Oh, boy. Oh, yeah. Look at that. 28 damage go. It's gonna take probably 2.5 magazines to kill him. Yeah, that sounds about right. And there we are. One more. Yeah, that's right. Just run back and forth in your cage there, and he's down. Lovely. Hey, that was about right. 2.5 magazines, roughly. Wonderful. Take that, Deathclaw. Well, yes, this is a fun gun. I very much do enjoy having the old 10mm SMG back in the game, as it was just such a cool, unique-looking weapon, and having, you know, some good modifications for it now really does breathe a bit of fresh life into it from what we saw back in Fallout 3 and New Vegas, and is overall just a nice little addition into the game. So if you would like to take a look at this mod for yourself, which I'd certainly recommend you go and do, you can have a look at the link in the description as per usual. But that, my friends, is going to be it for today. Hopefully you all have enjoyed and you do come back for the next. But until that time, thank you for watching. And as always, have a good one.